You ever wonder how someone can be so undeniably successful, yet still be one of the most controversial figures in sports? Floyd Mayweather, 50 wins, 0 losses. You'd think with a record like that, he'd be universally admired, right? But that's far from the truth. From dodging tough fights to flaunting wealth in the most outrageous ways, Mayweather has a list of controversies as long as his list of victories. And we're not even talking about what happens outside the ring. His legal troubles and out-of-ring scandals are a whole other story. So how did one of the greatest boxers of all time end up with a reputation so polarizing? Stick around, because it's not just about what he did in the ring, it's about everything else. Let's talk about Mayweather and his obsession with money, because honestly, it's a huge part of why so many people can't stand him. Floyd Mayweather loves money, so much so that it became his nickname, Money Mayweather. But he didn't just earn this name by being rich. He earned it by making sure everyone knew just how rich he was. And this wasn't just casual flexing. Oh no. Floyd took it to extreme levels. Let's look at a few examples. One time during a press tour for his fight with Conor McGregor, Mayweather showed up to an interview with a satchel. Inside, he had $40,000 in cash. Now, most people would just talk about the money they're earning from a fight, right? Not Floyd. He literally started throwing stacks of $100 bills on the table like he was making it rain right in the middle of an interview. And he didn't stop there. He wanted everyone to see how rich he was. You can imagine how that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And it didn't end with cash on the table. Mayweather once posted a video of himself burning money just to show how little it meant to him. He filmed himself setting bills on fire, laughing while he did it. I mean, can you imagine the backlash for regular people struggling with bills, rent, and everyday expenses? Watching someone literally burn cash is outrageous. But it wasn't just the one-off moments either. Floyd regularly used social media to flaunt his wealth in the most extravagant ways possible. Private jets, luxury cars, million-dollar watches, he'd post it all. He even uploaded videos of himself walking into luxury stores, buying insane amounts of designer goods, and then casually leaving without a second thought. His Instagram was basically a non-stop highlight reel of excess. Now here's the thing, lots of celebrities show off their wealth, but Mayweather took it to a level that just felt disrespectful to a lot of people. While many other famous athletes or actors keep their wealth a bit more subtle, Floyd went out of his way to flaunt it in the faces of his fans. For some, it just felt like a slap in the face, especially considering how many of his fans weren't anywhere close to living that kind of lifestyle. Mayweather once said,
"When it comes to legalized bank robbing, I'm the best."
And to him, that's exactly what he was doing with his fights. He wasn't hiding his motives, he made it clear. For Floyd, boxing wasn't about legacy or respect, it was about the payday. But for many fans, especially those who idolize boxers like Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, who cared deeply about their legacies, Mayweather's attitude felt shallow. He wasn't fighting for the glory of the sport, he was fighting for the money, and he made sure everyone knew it. And it's this constant obsession with showing off that wealth, combined with his attitude of, "I don't care what anyone thinks," that alienated him from a lot of fans. His extravagant lifestyle and complete disregard for humility made people view him not as a champion, but as someone who was out of touch with the very people who supported him. Now let's get into the topic of Mayweather's opponent choices and the criticism he faced for cherry-picking fights. Floyd Mayweather is undeniably one of the most skilled boxers in history, but his legacy is often shadowed by accusations that he avoided tough opponents in their prime. Many fans believe he was more interested in preserving his undefeated record than actually taking on the most dangerous fighters out there. The most famous example, his fight with Manny Pacquiao. People had been begging for the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight for years, but it didn't happen until 2015, when Pacquiao was way past his prime. At that point, Manny was slower, less explosive, and not the same fighter fans wanted to see face Floyd. Critics argue that Mayweather delayed this fight on purpose, waiting until the threat had diminished. And that's what left a sour taste for many fans. But this wasn't the first time Mayweather was accused of dodging a tough opponent. Back in 2005, there was a lot of buzz about a potential fight between Mayweather and Winky Wright, who was a strong, defensive fighter and a major threat. The negotiations started, but Floyd suddenly pulled out after realizing just how dangerous Winky was in the ring. Many saw this as another strategic move to protect his perfect record. This kind of behavior gave rise to the term cherry-picking, where Mayweather was accused of picking fights he knew he could win. Instead of going after the hardest challenges, fans believed he carefully selected opponents that would build his reputation without putting his undefeated streak at serious risk. And sure, While Floyd did fight big names like Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya, critics often point out that he fought them at moments when it was more advantageous for him. For example, when he fought Canelo, Canelo was still young and less experienced, while Floyd was at the top of his game. It was another fight that felt calculated. Fans and analysts felt this cautious approach was manipulative and, at times, even cowardly. In a sport where legends like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson would fight anyone at their peak, Floyd's selective matchmaking disappointed those who wanted to see him truly tested. Now let's talk about one of the biggest reasons Floyd Mayweather wasn't exactly a fan favorite: his defensive fighting style. Look, there's no denying that Mayweather's style is brilliantly effective. He's a master of defense, and his ability to dodge punches is almost superhuman. The way he uses the shoulder roll to deflect punches and his precise footwork are just incredible to watch if you love the technical side of boxing. But here's the thing, most fans don't want technical, they want excitement. People tune in to see knockouts, wild exchanges, and aggressive fighters. They want that raw power and intensity. Think about Mike Tyson. He had fans on the edge of their seats because you knew a knockout could come at any second. Tyson was all about explosive action, and that's what people loved. But Mayweather, he's the complete opposite. He's a safety-first fighter. His game plan was always to hit and not get hit, which, let's be honest, is a smart strategy for staying undefeated. But for many casual fans, it came off as boring. They wanted to see punches fly, not just a fighter dodging them for 12 rounds. Take his fights against Manny Pacquiao or Canelo Alvarez. Both were highly anticipated matchups, and while Mayweather dominated with his defense, many fans left feeling disappointed because there wasn't that wild, action-packed battle they were hoping for. Now, boxing purists, the real hardcore fans, loved Mayweather's style. They saw the genius in his technique, how he could outsmart opponents and break them down without taking much damage. But the general audience? They were expecting something else. They were there for the fireworks, not the chess match. That's where the frustration really came from. It's not that people didn't respect his skills, they just didn't find his fights entertaining. Instead of knockouts or thrilling moments, they got a lot of careful footwork and strategic point scoring, which is a very different kind of boxing. Let's dive into the controversy surrounding Mayweather's exhibition fights and how some people believe he's ruining boxing. So, after Mayweather officially retired, he didn't exactly stay retired. Instead, he started doing exhibition matches, which were pretty different from what we'd seen before. The most talked about, his fight with Logan Paul. Now here's a legendary, undefeated boxer going up against a YouTuber. A lot of people were like, what is this? Is this even real boxing anymore? The whole thing felt like a money grab, and honestly, Mayweather didn't even try to hide it. He once referred to these exhibition matches as legal bank robbing. That statement alone fueled the idea that he wasn't really interested in protecting the sport's legacy. He was just in it for the cash. And let's be real, these fights made serious money. People, especially hardcore boxing fans, felt like he was disrespecting the sport. They argued that these exhibitions were turning boxing into more of a circus than a serious competition. I mean, Logan Paul, then later Deji, another social media figure, these weren't even professional boxers. It felt like the fights were more about selling pay-per-views than offering real, competitive boxing matches. For some fans, this was a huge letdown. Boxing is supposed to be about legacy, skill, and respect for the sport. But with Mayweather's exhibitions, it seemed more like he was using his name and reputation to cash in without really taking the fight seriously. So while Mayweather keeps making millions, these exhibition fights left a lot of people wondering if he cares more about his legacy or his bank account. Let's talk about one of the most damaging aspects of Mayweather's public image, his out-of-ring scandals and legal troubles. While Mayweather's boxing career was nearly flawless, his behavior outside the ring told a different story. One of the biggest issues that's haunted Mayweather's legacy is his history of domestic violence. Over the years, he's been charged multiple times for incidents involving physical abuse against women. In fact, back in 2012, he actually served 2 months in jail for an attack on the mother of his children. These types of incidents created a major divide between Mayweather the boxer and Mayweather the person. While fans admired his skill in the ring, many couldn't overlook his troubling behavior outside of it. It wasn't just the domestic violence cases either. Mayweather's also been involved in other legal troubles, from assault charges to lawsuits for things like defamation and even tax evasion. You'd think someone with his wealth would have his finances in check, but no. Even the IRS came knocking, claiming he owed millions in unpaid taxes. And let's not forget his altercations with fellow athletes and public figures. He's had some pretty heated public feuds over the years, most notably with people like rapper T.I. These weren't just petty Twitter beefs either. One of their confrontations reportedly turned physical in Las Vegas. What's really interesting is how Mayweather has often brushed off these scandals. He once said, "Nobody's perfect." And while that's true, these actions significantly impacted how the public saw him. Despite his in-ring success, his personal life became a major stumbling block in his career. For many, it was hard to separate the undefeated champion from the man facing these repeated legal issues.